Minister, you have the floor.
Esteemed colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to be with you today as we convene to demonstrate our common objective of pushing forward the development agenda. Prior to the COVID pandemic, emerging and developing countries were already grappling with financial distress. According to the International Monetary Fund, in 2020, there was a staggering increase of 60 percentage points increase in the share of debt to GDP between 2010 and 2019. This number has gone north since then. The subsequent crises, including the COVID-19 pandemic, food and energy crises linked to the war in Europe, have exacerbated the fiscal challenges as well as lowered the fiscal space, burdening developing countries further. Despite representing 84% of the world's population and 58% of global GDP, developing countries hold less than 20% of global financial assets. This staggering disparity highlights the urgent need for addressing the financing gap for development. The Sustainable Development Goals financing gap have been projected to be $4.3 trillion per year, a more than 70% increase from pre-pandemic levels. Multiple economic shocks have also exacerbated the unmet financing needs for SDGs, with estimates indicating that a 20% increase in spending is needed for key SDG sectors. While ODA reached an all-time high in 2020, amounting to $162 billion, and official development finance reaching $307 billion, it was still insufficient to meet the ambitious development goals according to the OECD. Redirecting just 1% of these trillions in global financial system would help support the SDGs in developing economies and would also be sufficient to bridge the financing gap, a sum well within a capacity of 410 trillion of the global financial assets. To address these pressing issues and promote just financing for development, we must first ensure the right of developing countries to the quantity and quality of finance, particularly for the most vulnerable. Second, we need to address access, affordability, and resource allocation bias to eliminate problems related to insufficient finance and sectoral bias. We also need to prioritize debt restructuring and debt relief as an urgent measure to alleviate the debt burden of developing countries, and we need to explore innovative financing tools such as debt swaps to generate additional investment and liquidity for resilience. In conclusion, the challenges of financing for development are immense, but the potential for positive change is equally substantial. It is our collective responsibility to bridge the financing gap, support climate action, empower developing countries to achieve sustainable and inclusive development. By working together and implementing just financing principles, we can make significant strides towards a more equitable and prosperous world for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister.